What's up, guys? Constantine here. So this week I wanted to do another top 10. I'm really enjoying these. So top 10 experienced backpacker mistakes. So this is for people who have done trail systems, done miles, but you're always still learning. So you're still gonna make mistakes, and the mistakes shift from when you're a beginner backpacker to mistakes that really only experienced backpackers will make, because you need the experience to make the mistakes. So that being said, that you need the experience to make the mistakes, the first one on this list is overconfidence. And this can tie into so much stuff, but we're going to keep it short for you guys because we tend to ramble. So overconfidence plays a facet in many experienced backpackers' mistakes that lead them to some uncomfortable situations. We personally have had overconfidence on trail. We've had overconfidence that we chose the right stuff to bring. We chose the right food to bring. We did all this stuff that was right, and we were overconfident, so we didn't really think some scenarios through as much. We knew, okay, the trail has to go this way. Okay, I know I'm going the right direction. This must be it. And we've gotten lost. Definitely lost. We've gotten lost. We've had wrong turns. We've put ourselves in situations that overconfidence will lead to. And some of that, if you guys have been watching, one of those was our hypothermic summer. We were overconfident that we would be able to push through the level of uncomfort that we had done through so many times, but we'd never gotten to that level of dangerous. And that was different because our overconfidence said, we've pushed through this level many times, but we hit a threshold of danger that if we were a beginner backpacker, we would have called it way earlier. We would have changed what we did, and luckily it all worked out. But be very wary of being too overconfident on trail. That's why it comes in at number one for experienced backpackers. Number two, this is stubbornness with gear. Yes, we personally are stubborn, but also don't get too angry. Many of the backpackers we know that choose this lifestyle and do this consistently are very, very stubborn people. They have their preferences. They have their choices of gear. They have their opinions of trail. They have their opinions of how to hike. It's great. It's all good. It's opinions, but they are very set in these ways because they have done it year after year after year. So eventually, when you become an experienced backpacker, you're going to get very stubborn with your gear choices. You're going to say, this has worked for me, or this has worked, not to the degree I want it to, but it has still worked for me for thousands upon thousands of miles. I'm going to keep using it. Why do I need to look at something new? I don't, because I am comfortable with my gear. We have changed our gear out with rain jackets, packs. As our progression as a hiker changed, we changed that, but we even find ourselves stuck in this stubbornness with gear rut as well. We've gotten stubborn before because we didn't use micro spikes, and we said, you know what, we're better off without them. We don't have to carry that. Thank God we changed, because micros, we love them now. We have gotten stubborn with our pack choices. We have gotten stubborn with gear that starts to deteriorate, and we don't want to change it out because it has been working for us, even if it's lost its integrity at that point. So that is something you also have to be wary for, is when gear dictates that you need to change said gear. Don't get too stubborn. All right, number three, another big mistake is the more miles you do, the more you become comfortable with pushing higher miles without water. As we've grown as a hiker, we have seen this in other people that have been grown as a hiker too. We can see the ones that have done trails because they say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna get 1 liter, I'm gonna go 10, 15 miles, that'll be fine. The people that are learning and beginning on these trails, they're gonna get to that water source. They're gonna fill up 3 or 4 liters. They're gonna drink a few there and then get going. And this can lead into problems too, because once you become overconfident with water, you know your pace and you know how fast you go, and you know when that next water is gonna be, maybe, and you put yourself in uncomfortable situations. We've put ourselves in a 38-mile waterless stretch because we assumed we had a good pace going. We would get to that water source pretty soon, or we would be able to find water along there, and we were overconfident, and it really hurt. So being wary of water and not carrying enough that is an overconfidence issue, and that is an experienced backpacker issue too, thinking you'll get to that next water source. Be wary. Number 4, pace assumptions. As you start growing as a hiker, you are gonna fall into a pace that you don't even have to check the clock. You know how fast you're going. You know you're going 3 miles per hour. You know you're going 3.5. You know you're going 4. So you know without checking how far you've gone. You can start to time. I've gone about an hour, so I've done about 3.5 miles. I've gone about 2 hours. I was going quick. I did about 8 miles. You start to assume that you're always going to be able to set this pace. And a big wake-up call for us this year was hiking in Canada. The GDT and the VIT showed us that not all trails are built alike. You can never assume how fast you're going to go unless you're looking at a road and you're walking quickly for some road walks on the Florida Trail, Arizona Trail. But for the most part on trail, you should start realizing as you're planning that, hey, this might be different. My pace might not be 3 miles per hour consistently. My pace might not even get up to 4. And as hiking went on this year for us personally, our mind, it took a long time to get out of that. We were on the GDT like 3 weeks in, and we'd been shown every single day we could not set a pace. We could not confidently say, hey, we're going to do 3 miles per hour right here. It would always change on us. But it still took us 3 weeks to fight and fight and fight, waking up in the morning saying, we're going to do 30 today because we know we can hike this amount of time and do this amount of pace. So start to be wary about the pace, because if you over assume, might lead into more problems. But number 5, light resupplies. As you grow as a hiker, you're like, you know what? I'm going to do big Neros into town. I'm going to do 20-mile days, 25-mile days without any food and just grub down once I get to town, because I can do 20 miles in 4 or 5 hours. I can do that and still be able to get into town for breakfast depending what time I wake up. And that leads to a light resupply, because you want to keep your pack light in that section and you want to be running into town hungry to eat. But it's also ties into pace. If you do a light resupply and you don't hold down the miles that you think you are going to, that you've based off of all your previous experience, it's going to lead to uncomfortable situations. So light resupplies. We had a day that we were very emaciated near the end of the GDT, and we lasted for 3 days on a power bar a day. I think sometimes a little less. I think one day we didn't even eat anything, and we had nothing left to lose. So our body luckily was able to find that deep-seated strength, but it could have put us in a bad situation, especially on the GDT, not knowing how quickly you're going to go, how far you're going to be able to go that day. So light resupplies, while good, just be wary. Really take into account that next section coming up. Do more research. Don't rely on your previous experience. Like, know what's coming up and know where you're going and know the correct resupply. Number 6, the lack of prep before a hike. I know what I'm getting into. I'm about to go do 500 miles. I've looked at this trail. I'm pretty confident with the terrain. I'm pretty confident with the environment. I don't need to do much planning. I got my maps downloaded. I'll just walk, and that works. That works sometimes, but as you grow as a hiker and these trails become lesser known, the support around there might not work. We ran into that problem on the Natchez. No camping. Pretty much no camping. We had to find camp spots because we didn't plan properly, and that was a stressful situation. So once you start becoming experienced, you don't plan as much, and you shouldn't over plan, but you should still look into it and be at least aware of what you're doing and where you're going through, and have knowledge besides just popping on the trail and walking. It's easy to do that, and we've done that. We are guilty of everything on this list many times over, and that's why we love doing this. Number 7, too hard, way too fast. Once you get off trail and you've gotten miles underneath your belt, whether that's the AT, PCT, CDT, PNT, you're going to think next hiking season that you're going to hop on trail the same shape you came off. And then, even if you're staying super disciplined, super in shape, your body is not moving 30 miles, 35 miles a day like it was used to on the trail. So your muscles, while still being able to handle different loads, are not going to be able to handle that right out the bat. You have to get reacclimated every single time. And we have done this. We've tried to go out there and run a trail after we've been off trail for a few months, and our mind thinks we can do it, and our mind knows we can do it, so we push those miles, and it hurts. It's too hard, too fast. Get into that pace again. Might even only take a week, but take that time to get back into that pace and be able to go run that out. And for all the FKTers out there, this might not apply to you. 8. This is a broad topic again, but we found the best word for this is cockiness. And personally, we try not to get too wrapped up in this. We've noticed ourselves leaning into it sometimes, and we've noticed others leaning into it sometimes. And what we mean by cockiness is being on trail and having these people come out to trails and these new people learning, and without even thinking, your mind goes into a subconscious level of, oh, this is what we do, this is kind of where we go, this is what's going on. And it feels weird sometimes, because like with newer hikers, if you're saying, oh yeah, I'm doing 30s, it will very much like surprise them, and it will make you feel weird because it will make you feel like you're bragging when that's just your norm. So finding a level of humbleness is a great thing, because yeah, you have miles under your belt, yeah, you're experienced, but you also were there at a time, and the trail is meant to be shared by everybody. And just because you're doing bigger miles or you're doing more trail systems doesn't mean you're a better hiker than somebody that just stepped foot on trail. Don't be cocky. That's what we're saying. Don't go into towns assuming and expecting stuff. Don't go to Trail Angel's house being expectant. Just go out there, have fun, but don't assume that stuff should come to you because you're an experienced hiker. And with experience and more time on trail, this is especially true in this day and age, as 2020 kind of starts to go in the background. 2021's coming up. Hiking has increased exponentially, and with that, number 9 is what we call losing the big picture, or a rat race. Everybody loves outdoors now, and hiking is growing exponentially, which is so awesome. But it starts to create a level of, oh, this person's doing this person's doing that, we need to go do this trail, we need to go do that trail. Do what makes you happy. Don't get caught up in the rat race of, oh, you have to go do this because that person's done it, or you have to go do this because that person's not done it. Choose what you want to do. Don't get caught up in the social media. Instagram, Facebook, great stuff, great tools, but don't compare against anything else, because you're going out there for your enjoyment. You're going out there for your hike, and it's great to share that enjoyment and hike with other people, but don't get caught up in the rat race of it, because it's ugly. It's number 10. This one's a big one too. Experienced hikers, talking to you. Not carrying med kits. Yes, we've been guilty of this. Yes, we've been stupid. Very, very stupid. Carry med kits. As you grow in experience, you start to base off assumptions of, well, I've done this, I didn't get hurt. I've hiked through this terrain, didn't get hurt. Did all this different hiking and I came out relatively unscathed. That means I must be invincible. You're not. All it takes is one unlucky step, on one lucky tumble, and you're gonna need that med kit, or on one lucky bite from a rattlesnake in the desert, or one allergic reaction to a bee. It's very luck based out there. If you've done all these miles and done all these trails and haven't suffered an injury, that's so cool. That is very, very lucky. That is outside of the norm. And your brain's gonna start trying to trick you that that is your norm, that you just won't get injured out there. Like I said, been guilty of it. And if you stop doing that and carrying the med kit, you don't only put yourself at risk, you put the others that are around you. You need to be able to self-sustain when you are injured and be able to plan properly. So carry a med kit. It's smart, right thing to do. You're not invincible. We're not invincible. Yeah. All right, guys, time for special number 11. And that's losing the roots of hiking. As you become more experienced, miles take on a different meaning than the miles in the beginning. When we did the AT miles, we weren't thinking 10 miles, 15 miles, 20 miles, 25, 30 miles. We were thinking, what would we do in those miles? What laughs would we have? What campfires would we sit around? What shelters would we get to? How much of this journey is this going to be a part of? And as we've grown as a hiker, we still hold on to that. We still love the laughs out there, but our mind has started to shift and be like, okay, I need to do these miles. And you get on a very treadmill lane of miles, and you don't lose the roots of why you started hiking, but it's starting to distort it, and you're starting to see, oh, am I hiking because I still love hiking, or am I hiking because that's just my pattern now, or that's my expectation to go do high miles? And we still love it so much. We love every aspect of it, and we love the high mile days. But as you become experienced, like, take stock, take a moment, look at what you're doing. Are you still hiking for the right reasons? Are you still hiking for the reasons that you loved in the beginning? And if they grew and you found different reasons to love it, that's still awesome. But just make sure you're staying true to yourself and staying true to who you are as a hiker, because that can be lost, especially in this day and age. As always, guys, we really appreciate you guys watching, and we love doing this. This list that we made, we were really excited to get into the nitty-gritty of it, because yeah, every one of these lists has really made us think and take stock of what we're doing, and take stock of the questions that we might not think of as much. So we love doing this. Really appreciate all the community around it. And if you love this stuff as well, we'd love to hear from you with a like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you really love this content and want to see what's going into 2021, our biggest year yet, with about 8,000 miles, and you want to see the behind the scenes of the videos, what we think, and all of that, head over to our Patreon page, and there you'll be able to see the behind the scenes of our off-trail, on-trail kind of stuff, because off-trail, on-trail, it's all one thing. And if you want to check out our gear, head on over to 11 Skies, and that gear is created by us through hikers that have been out there, have tested it, have seen what people want, and have seen what the outdoor community wants. And we are proud to be able to offer that type of gear to y'all as well. We are just going into another production run. Thank you so much for all the support. Really appreciate it, guys. As always, cool. Peace.